Okay, so what is TAK? If you're new to TAK, what I would say is the biggest thing is we host a DevSecOps capability and a website called tak.gov, if you're not familiar. And it is intended to be a self-help capability. But tak.gov is your resource for all things TAK. And what I will say is if you want a great TAK 101 brief, you can watch all the TAK 101 briefs for the last couple CSBs on the events page. I want to tell you what TAK is to me, and it goes back to this idea of and TAK. I'm going to tell it through this software architecture story. So TAK Product Center, we maintain the core capability. So the core of TAK is a map engine and the communications layer. That's essentially what we maintain. And we try to open source as much of that as we can. The reason TAK can scale the way it has is because it's extensible. And it's extensible through both plugins, and it's also extensible through the SDKs that we release. And so the reason I'm saying this, to go back to my and TAK, all TAK Product Center does is maintain that core capability. The rest of you, the rest of the ecosystem, the rest of the coalition of the willing builds everything else. So when you guys fire up ATAK, you get that out, you start using a plugin. TAK Product Center did not build that plugin. One of you did. And that's how TAK scales, and that's what TAK, again, is to me. That's my and TAK. You guys are my and TAK. We have 400,000 federal users. That's really impressive. We've pretty much doubled our user base, and that's users and systems, to be completely fair. We've doubled our user base over the last 2 years. The other big piece of this that's really ramped up over the last couple of years is the public safety side. There's at least 15,000 non-federal users. That's all of our public safety, local, state, LEO, EMS, fire. And this community is growing, and it is impressive. There are things they do sometimes that I think, wow, DoD could probably take a note or two here. The last thing is real-time coordination. So we've seen tremendous capability development over the last year or so, including upgrading the TAK products, making the TAK products better, particularly ATAK-Server, through this real-time coordination, and so specifically with public safety, but also, of course, within the military, the National Guard. There's been a number of events, and so I just wanted to kind of throw up one picture. This was TAK being used in the Kerr County flood recently, so this again will be briefed Thursday, and talked a little bit about this afternoon. But public safety, when the two hurricanes went through Florida this year, there was tremendous effort, and that was across the board. That was across the DoD. SOCOM helped out on that. All the federal agencies, all the way down to your local EMS, fire, and law enforcement, which is really incredible to see. The number of requirements that we found through these exercises to make TAK better. We're almost at 80,000 cumulative registered users on tak.gov, which is incredible. I want to say we're sitting around 12 to 15,000 of those are developers, which is also incredible. I'm going to go back to tak.gov as your resource. Please do use it. I'll leave this up for a second if anybody wants to scan that code. So hopefully you've seen TAK maps in ATAK or WinTAK or TAKX. This is a capability that we stood up. It's all open source data that we host for the entire TAK ecosystem. Well, what can we do to help people host their data? So this has not been released yet. This is the first time it's been discussed publicly. So hopefully it's not too soon. But here in a month or two, we are going to put some official product releases out on what we're calling TerraTAK. So TerraTAK is taking that initial baseline capability, being able to stand up all that open source data and be able to host that. That's great. But what happens if you have data that you want to host on tak.gov, have us tile that in a specific format that's going to work with ATAK, WinTAK, et cetera, and be able to push that out to your end users. And so that's really what TerraTAK is. It's a tiling capability for you to bring your data, your imagery, your elevation data, your tiled data or vector tile data, be able to bring that into the ecosystem and serve that out to your end users. TAKX has done phenomenal work over the last couple of years, but if you are looking to eventually move to TAKX, now is the time at TAKX 5.5 to start developing against it. ATAK. ATAK's another one that we've just never really funded that well. Obviously, we're very Android focused, and that's for military purposes. But that is changing, right? Especially with our federal agencies and our public safety. So ATAK is always kind of taking a second seat to ATAK. But that, again, is changing both financially and from a development perspective. So right now there's 3 ATAKs, which I hate. So I've been working over the last couple months with all the developers, all the teams, to say how can we make this a single capability, a single development capability that we can extend and be able to provide to our users and our development community. I don't have any official news yet, but I just want to give everybody an update that we are pushing that. There's phenomenal work being done with our federal agencies with ITAK, internal to TAK Product Center and the CSB for ITAK, so that's kind of the 2 ITAKs. And then there's TAK Aware, which is very interesting. So Corey's going to talk, I believe Thursday, about TAK Aware. Last year, Ryan McClain, the director, former director, put a challenge out. He said, host a hackathon, go to a hackathon, be a developer. Raise your hand if you participated, hosted, or helped sponsor a hackathon in the last year. Okay, all right. Well, next year we're going to see if we can do a little better. It's very critical. It's absolutely critical. We've got to get more people developing. But what I wanted to push out is for you all to continue to be stewards of the TAK product. It's very critical. We don't have a TAK Product Center, right? We're not a program office. We don't have a PAO. My PAO is all of you, right? Help sell the TAK story. Sharing is caring. Support in-kind contributions. We love money, but this isn't about money. Offer your code, data, and very importantly, use cases to the entire TAK ecosystem, of course, based on your distribution level, to be able to help sponsor that collective effort, right? So TAK is not just about software development. It's also about those requirements, those end user requirements, the real requirements, to be able to share those across the services, and the Department of Defense, the federal agencies, all the way down to our public safety friends. And the last thing, and I cannot stress this enough, provide ruthless feedback. Ruthless. I can assure you that we can take it. We want to hear what's not working. And I've even asked a lot of the briefers this week to tell you all, this isn't working, something's not working. We want to fix it. And so please provide that ruthless feedback and make sure you're challenging us as I challenge you. Okay, I'm going to try to do some questions. So do we have questions?
Hi, my team has recently started developing some TAKX plugins for Marine Corps use. And one thing that has really helped us out is having the kernel code easily accessible and open. Is there any plans in the future for it to be open to contribution as well, or is that going to stay a small team of not well-paid people?
Great question. What I would say is likely not. We're making it and getting to a point where TAK kernel will be completely extensible through the SDK or through an API. So if there's something that you want kernel to do, but it's not going to make its way into TAK kernel proper, we are working to make it so that you can do that. You're just going to do it through a plugin.
One of our biggest challenges has been onboarding new developers for working on TAK plugins. Are there any intentions for new and improved developer documentation, or will it remain concentrated around the TAK curriculum and the Confluence docs?
So not currently, but I'm going to take that as a requirement. So that's something that, yeah, we certainly need to kind of relook at or, get more standardized across all the products. And so that is something that we have discussed, but yeah, heard loud and clear. Ruthless feedback, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to do a rapid fire here for the online folks. Are there plans for a plugin infrastructure in ITAK similar to ATAK? Short answer, yes. Long answer, we'll get back to you. Sean Bisgrove, will we be able to have 2 plugins open simultaneously? Yeah. So Sean basically said there is no limitation. It's really just how you implement that. Question, if industry would like to contribute to TerraTAK, is there an anomalous path to publish? That is a great question. There is not one right now, but I will make sure I record that as a takeaway. Is it possible in ATAK chat to change from Zulu to the local time zone? Sean Bisgrove. So it's already a filed issue on JIRA. It has not been prioritized. So our ask is to help us prioritize that so we can get it done. Is there a roadmap to align APIs between ATAK and TAKX? If so, what is the timeline? Ooh, the answer is yes, and the timeline is the timeline. Yeah, so I'll actually go a little bit deeper on this. Is there are a number of capabilities for cross-platform development that are happening right now. We're working on something internally. There's also some external capabilities that are being developed.